This is Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate, the podcast where we cover home buying, home selling, home improvement tips and ideas, market trends and developments, and investing in real estate. If you own real estate in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, or want to own real estate here, then you're in the right place. Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate is hosted by Blake Watson, a real estate agent and investor in Tennessee and Georgia.
Welcome to Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate. I'm Blake Watson with Epic Realty. I'm a realtor in the Chattanooga and Northwest Georgia area, and today we are going to be talking about loans and some very special loans that you can have available from TVFCU. And today my guests are Andy Woodman, he's the Director of Mortgage Lending, and Cynthia Blackwell, Mortgage Marketing Specialist with TVFCU. Welcome to you both.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Blake.
Good to have y'all. Let's just start with what TVFCU is all about with lending.
We were talking earlier about how kind of people associate TVFCU with auto loans, deposit accounts, and actually we've made a really concerted effort here in the last several years to be kind of primary, top of mind as far as it goes towards real estate lending. And we've been able to accomplish that thanks to kind of the backing of our CEO and president, and then Eric Weekly, who's my boss. He was brought in to really help build up the mortgage team, and as a result, we've moved to where we're the top one or two lender in our footprint for the last several years running now.
Wow. Now, how big is that footprint?
It's 17 counties.
17 counties.
Yep.
Yeah, so from upper in Athens area, Charleston, down to we're as far down as Dalton and Calhoun now. So.
Right. How was that your grand opening of the Dalton location, which is more than a branch?
Right.
Clearly.
Right.
It's
kind of like our North Georgia hub now, op center in some regards. We have mortgage lenders in that office as well, full service branch, commercial, consumer lending. So we kind of do it all down there.
So that's pretty exciting. You're doing so many things. What are some of the things people are coming to you for?
So you name the mortgage product, we have it. That's, I think, one of the biggest changes we've had too in the last 3 years even is we've made the effort to make sure we offered anything a traditional mortgage lender would have, and then still kind of keep those niche products that you would expect from a credit union. So your traditional conforming 30-year fixed products, all the way down to land loans, construction perm loans, second mortgages, HELOCs, fixed seconds. So again, there isn't a product, I think, that a member could walk into our branch and not find that we could be able to offer them.
One of the reasons I wanted to speak to you guys today was because of land loans. I represent some sellers who sell land, and I represent buyers who are looking for land. Yep. And the lending for land is always in question. I tell them, hey, the more cash you've got, the better off we're all going to be, because it's just harder to get loans on land. But tell us about what you might offer and how the credit union is much different than we may expect.
So to your point, usually for people looking to finance land, it's going to be with a small community lender or credit union in our case, because again, our focus is on our community. We're usually pretty attuned and aware of kind of what the cost and values of land look like. For us, we offer two products for land. It's a fixed 7-year loan, or we offer an adjustable rate product. It's a 5-year ARM, amortized over 20 years. The idea for land loans is obviously we would love for the borrower to go ahead and build on it at some point. So they usually are offered in shorter duration for that purpose in mind. But it's been hugely successful for us. We actually will lend up to 95% loan to value, depending on credit worthiness.
Wow.
And we'll lend, we don't really have a cap as far as acreage goes. We've done multiple loans over 50 acres. So I think the beauty of the credit union is we will look at anything and everything. We look at the transaction, not necessarily just a set of guidelines and rules and grids. So if it makes sense, I'd like to think that we go ahead and do that loan.
Wow. What about building on land? And that's pretty typically people want to do something, right, even if it's just a barn, but run into some issues there too. So what are some solutions that you bring to the table as far as building on land?
Well, we got a loan for that too. So, we've had a construction perm loan. And so for those that don't know, a construction perm loan is basically, it's a one-time close loan. So you go to closing once, you kind of pick your land, pick your builder, get your plans and specs together, and essentially we finance the construction part. And then once the home is finished, it modifies or into a permanent loan. So you don't have to go back to a real estate closing, pay a second round of closing costs. One-time close, usually much more economical and affordable for the borrower. We offer a variety of loans as far as ARMs and fixed rate on that. Again, we'll lend up to 95% loan to value on that as well, just depending on the credit score and all. But it's something that we really kind of put a little focus on in the last year or so, year and a half.
It's been a little over a year.
And right now, I think we've got roughly 20, 30 loans in process right now, meaning active builds going on right now.
Wow, yeah.
And we typically have between 3 and 5 going, in process at any point in time, waiting to go ahead and close. So it's one of my favorite loan products out there, just being able to watch the mechanics of doing the credit side with the loan and then the aspect of looking at the build itself. Again, just always been something fun. It's kind of actually how I started in the business back in the day. Yes. Yeah. So to be able to kind of grow that and start that product here, it's been a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's definitely a different kind of product. I guess pretty often was limited to banks back in the day.
And usually there were like designated folks that could only handle that.
Oh,
and,
right.
I will say with our team, we have 11 loan officers. Every one of them can offer this product. They're pretty fluent in it. So. And I know you as a realtor, right, we found that, given there's kind of a lack of supply out there right now, for those that want to go down this path of, okay, let's find land, maybe we wait a year or two, figure out what we want to do. Then we have the construction loan to kind of have them, the mechanism to go ahead and build, maybe your ideal home, your perfect home, your last home, who knows. But no matter what it is, right, we've got a way to go ahead and get that done for folks.
11 officers, and how many offices?
We have, I believe it's 27 branches now.
27 branches.
And
that's what I was thinking. There's
growing.
one everywhere.
Yeah. And along with growing into the food cities. I don't know if you've ever seen one of our food city branches.
Yeah.
So where we might not have our own brick and mortar standing branch, we have branches that are operating out of many food cities across our counties.
And there's even a desk there, so somebody could meet you.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
So anywhere and everywhere.
Absolutely. And some people don't realize, too, even though we are a credit union that works within the 17 counties, we can do loans in other states. And we have. We have loans that have closed in Alaska and Pennsylvania and Florida. We used to have lots of closed in Florida. So,
right.
Wow. How in the world do people that live in Alaska or Florida get a loan with you? How does that happen?
So usually it's an existing member that may move
there,
or
Fair
they
enough.
want a second home,
Yes.
in a place that they kind of
sure.
frequent. So as long as you're a member, it's kind of the sky's the limit for us. We can really lend wherever. It's a federally chartered credit union. So.
And while we're at it, let's talk about membership, because I realize, I'm a member. I've been a member for many years. How is it that someone becomes a member? Because I'm not a member of my bank. I'm just a customer over there. Tell me about membership.
that's right. So to be a member within a credit union, you have to hit a certain aspects or criteria. For us, it is you worship within the counties, you go to school within the counties, you live within the counties, you have a relative that's within the counties. But there are ways that we can also get you to be a member if you fall outside of those, especially in the lending and mortgages. If you're moving here from out of state, you're obviously not living here yet. You don't have the resource, you're not worshiping here. You're not doing those things that would have you meet that criteria. So we have an opportunity where you can then become a member by joining a local nonprofit, because that's another area that makes it where you're eligible. So for us, we partnered with the local Audubon Society. So if you're doing mortgage lending, you get to become a member there, and that gives you the qualifications to be a member with us.
How about that? Wow, that's a good work through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it helps out the Audubon Society, too.
Absolutely. So, which I have learned more and more about.
I bet you have.
Right.
That's great. So what is a typical member coming to you asking for with their mortgage loan? I mean, is it just like anybody else? They're going to buy a house and they need a loan?
It runs the spectrum, right?
Okay.
It's everything from the first-time home buyer, who've been told to come to us because we have a whole variety and array of products that may fit their needs. We offer 100% financing, as a matter of fact. We offer loans with mortgage insurance, without mortgage insurance. So, again, we kind of take the tact of looking at the member, our borrower, and trying to find the best product that fits their needs. Right, and it gets back to the idea of when you become a member of a credit union, right? we don't have shareholders, we don't have stock, we don't pay dividends. So profits, while we have to make a profit because we have to pay our salaries and
Sure.
pay my staff and, be able to, keep these branches open. But the income we generate gets reinvested back into the members, into new products and expanding our offerings. So for that, we're allowed, it allows us to go ahead and be able to offer lower costs. We've been running now for the past year, almost 2 years, where we've paid the appraisal fee for all of our members. I mean, that's a $650 cost that most people have to pay up front.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
then
Before they even close.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at TVFCU, we cover that expense for our members. So, it's nuanced things like that we just look at year over year as to how the market, how we're doing, where can we give back to our members, right?
Yeah.
And so back to your question of, first-time home buyers, we've been seeing actually more and more folks that actually have a lot of equity built up and either are cashing that equity out, buying second homes, or, if they're relocating, they've come from a spot where they now have, a large down payment to, make. So we've seen lower loan to values here than we have probably traditionally. But again, there's still the 95, 97% LTV type loans out there for people who I'd say a starter home's like almost $400,000 now, right? So
right.
It's kind of crazy. I think back to when I bought my first house. I think it was $189,000.
Yeah.
Good luck finding
Absolutely.
something you would want to live in for $189,000 right now. But
So the median home price in the Chattanooga MLS right now is about $335,000.
Yep.
That's the median home. So a starter home really can be $300,000.
Right.
What would you tell someone who is trying to consider buying a house? Maybe they're a member of the credit union already. Maybe they had a car loan at the credit union. They just don't know where to even start, how to get into this.
Talk to somebody, right? So I think, we in this day and age where we have so much available to us online and at our fingertips, it's a great research tool. I think everybody should start and do their research. But as far as buying a property, whether it's like with an agent like yourself or getting the loan with us, like you should feel comfortable with the person you're working with, right? And that person should, at the end of the day, have your best interests at heart and should offer you multiple options, right? You wouldn't go and show someone one house, right? I wouldn't sit here and offer someone one loan. So I think as you talk, we try to understand what your short-term and long-term needs are, right? We talk about the difference between adjustable rate mortgages and fixed rate mortgages. If your plan is to only be here for 3 to 5 years, right? Does it make sense to put someone into a long-term 30-year fixed rate loan where we can get them a lower rate and lower payment and make that house more affordable in the short term, knowing that they're going to go ahead and move, before that loan has the chance to adjust? So again, it's conversational. It's getting to learn and know our members. I think that's why we have so many people come back to us, honestly, for those that we've done loans for, and then people that still refer us to other people that are moving into this market, because they know at the end of the day we're going to take care of them.
Yeah. Well, that certainly has been my experience over the years, many years as a member, and just the culture of the Tennessee Valley Federal Credit Union and the staff. When I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about the staff. Just the atmosphere that is given off when you come into the branch or when you're talking to someone on the phone. It is nice to know decisions are made here locally.
Right.
It is very nice to know that you don't have to send a package off to somebody in another state or maybe all the way across the country. So I appreciate that. And I'm saying that as a realtor who handles a lot of folks that are getting loans. And I've gotten a lot of loans myself.
Sure.
Over the years. So
Sure. Well, to your point, like you said, the decision makers are here, right? So ultimately, if there's a question, and there's not a lot of layers to go through, right? If my loan officer has a loan that doesn't quite fit the box, so to speak, right? They can talk right to me. I mean, I'm one of the decision makers, myself and my, we know the area. We're familiar with the area. Like I said, I like to think we employ common sense, not just looking at a loan on paper, but does it make sense for the borrower, for the credit union, for the market? We have a lot of that go on.
One thing I would say, coming back to the original question, though, of what would we tell people to do? We would absolutely tell you to go talk to someone, but to go ahead and get pre-qualified.
Oh, yeah.
Because that pre-qualification is going to give you a better understanding of what you can afford for you to go then out there looking for that land or looking for that home that you want to purchase. And it gives you an up in the sense of when you are meeting with a realtor, if you come already pre-qualified, they're much more likely family to understand your financial place and know that you're more ready to move forward. So I would always encourage you to go ahead and get pre-qualified as one of your first things to do, because then you're going to have a good understanding of how much you can afford.
Agreed. Yes. When I'm talking with someone, the first thing I need to know is where do they stand on their lending, or how are they going to pay for the property? And I say that not for my benefit, it's for their benefit, because what's going to happen is if I take you as a realtor, if I take you to a property and you fall in love with it, you're ready to make an offer. If you can't show that you're able to actually make that offer good and pay for it, then nobody's going to accept that offer.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that we've missed that we should cover?
One of the things that we are unique in is with our membership and being different from banks is that we also can look at you as an individual, and we've talked about that, but we look at different types of properties too. So we've talked about having an additional dwelling, but we've also have times where we have made loans with people that have been building barndominiums, or if you need a condo. So there's a lot of different types of homes out there, right? So we have townhomes in our footprint. We have single family homes. We have, just a variety. So the credit union, again, not being able to necessarily have to fit into a certain box, we can look at that home. We can look at that loan that you're looking to do and what your plan is and what your future looks like. And we can make a decision on that. And it is a decision that's made locally that we can say, yes, this makes sense. We want to help you get there. We want to make this happen for you. So I think it's unique because a lot of lenders, if you bring those things to them, they're going to look at you a little sideways and say, sorry, along with manufactured homes. We do lending on manufactured homes. So if you're looking to purchase one or you want to have some land that you're moving onto, then, those are things that we can look at too. Construction to perm for a manufactured home. That's very unique for us. It does have to be on a permanent foundation because we don't want you to, hook that house up and go pulling away.
That's right.
So anything that we do have to be on a permanent foundation. And we have looked into some smaller footprints. People could talk about the tiny home. There's a difference in a tiny home and a small footprint home, right? Mm-hmm. So we can, again, look at that and see what kind of square footage you're looking to build or what kind of square footage you're purchasing and kind of make a determination on that.
It comes down to really, are there comparable sales for us to gauge a value on this property, right? So
gotcha.
With unique properties, that's the battle. Berm homes, manufactured homes, tiny homes, like Cynthia was saying, as long as there are sales for us to look at and get an idea of what the market value of this property is, odds are we can do a loan on it.
Well, Andy and Cynthia, thank you so much for coming and being on the podcast today.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks for having us.
It's been a pleasure having you. How can someone get in touch with you?
They can go to our website, which is tvfcu.com, or feel free to call us at 423-634-3600. And always, you can walk into one of those 27 branches or go shopping at Food City and check out the branch while you're there.
Thank you so much. And I'm Blake Watson. You can find me as an agent with Epic Realty with my mobile phone. It's 423-315-1815. My brokerage office phone is 888-893-3537. You can also find me on Facebook and LinkedIn as Blake Watson and on Instagram as Rock and Roll Blake. My website is athomechattanooga.com. And if this podcast has been helpful to you, please share this podcast with a friend and follow this podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. And until next time, I wish you all the best in your real estate journey.